Alright guys, welcome to a new video. Let me catch you up to speed on exactly what's going on. This is the first video of the series for creating our Shopify print-on-demand store. And I'm going to be using a whiteboard to kind of break down all the different elements of this. But as you guys know, the link will be in the description to sign up for the free trial, which is the free trial is going to be a 3-month free trial, as you know. And very, very soon, Shopify will close down the 3-month free trial, and it will be a 1-month trial for $1. Well, it's technically a 3-day free trial. Pay the $1, then you get access to 1 month. But currently, like I said, because it's early, you get access to 3 months for $1. So I'm just looking out for you guys. If you want to grab that trial, I'll leave the link in the description. You can go ahead and grab it. But I'm going to break down now exactly the game plan, the business plan, if you will, behind the print-on-demand Shopify store business. Now, something I will say, as promised to the viewers, because I did promise this before, I will be doing other print-on-demand stores with other platforms because I do want to showcase those and tutorial those. But Shopify is one of the strongest platforms out there. And when I say the strongest, it's really the most well-known. I'm not saying the other platforms are bad by any means. They just serve different audiences. Shopify can be a little bit more complicated, not because of the structure of it, but just because there's more things that you can control. All right, so basically what you want to do is you want to first sign up to Shopify, obviously, and then you want to come up with the business plan. I already kind of have my business plan taken care of, so I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to show you kind of what we're doing for marketing, what we're doing for promotion, how we're going to create the products, etc. So I'm going to be breaking down kind of the rules of what I'm going to be doing, and then you guys can kind of take from that, pull from it for inspiration purposes, and then go off and do your own thing. And hopefully you guys stick with me here, watch the content, and hopefully I can inspire you to build something, or more importantly, just be effective in your journey. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about first the niche, or what I'm doing, and it's going to be about animals. Okay, exotic pets, I guess you will. Now, I kind of use that as a, exotic pets. What does that really mean? Basically, animals, right? But the website that I have as a blog, which is going to be one of my marketing promoters, is a website called exoticspetclub.com. And this is going to be one of my long-term strategies. So before I even get into showing you guys this, let me actually pull up the whiteboard right now and kind of explain everything so that you guys can understand what I'm saying, so I don't drive you guys nuts here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so basically, let me get rid of this. All right, I have my store, all right? And the store is going to be a Shopify store. And the Shopify store is going to be a sole entity. It's going to be on its own. All right. And the Shopify store is going to have traffic. But in order for it to get the traffic has to come from somewhere. And I'm going to have multiple places where the traffic is going to come from. So this represents traffic. I'll put like a little TRA here to represent traffic. And the whole goal is to get it to the Shopify store. Once the traffic gets to the Shopify store, some people will buy, and I'll put like a little B here for a buy, and some people won't buy. Okay, and I'll put a W here for will not buy, or like a little X, okay? For the people who won't buy, they're going to be retargeted, okay? And from the retargeted people, okay, so I'll put a RET here, retargeted. For the people who have become retargeted through ads, through things like that, some will buy and some will not buy, right? So basically what I'm doing is once I capture traffic, they're going to be retargeted too, okay? The people who buy, I will retarget them, but later down the road. That's kind of why I have like a little dotted line here, but this will be much, much later down the road. So for example, if a person sees the Shopify store, let's just say today, a week down the line, a month down the line, will differ depending on who it is. So if they don't buy, right, they're going to be retargeted. They're going to be seeing the content very quickly. But if they purchase, they could see the content a month down the line, 2 months down the line, a week, etc. All right. Now, as far as the traffic, how am I actually going to get the traffic? I'll explain. So I have a few things. The first thing you just saw was the blog. Now, the blog, for me, is not going to be on the Shopify store. I'm not going to say where people mess up, because there's nothing wrong with having your blog on your Shopify store. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's not a crime. It doesn't hurt you. Absolutely not. But what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to expand or sell one or both of these sites. So I want to kind of put that into perspective. So the blog right now is this website, which is right here. And I just had my virtual assistant working on it for me. And she's been doing a great job so far. I think we have, 40-something blog posts. I really don't know how many. We have 4 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times 4, what is that? 9 times 4, that's 36 maybe? I really don't know. I haven't been counting how many blog posts we have, but we're close to 40, okay? Close to 40 blog posts. And, the blog posts are written very well. There's nothing wrong with them. I looked at some of them here. You guys could sit down and read some of them. Check out the website if you wish. But this is going to be the long-term action plan. Okay, so let me go ahead and go over here and type in long-term. So Long, long. All right, so the blog is going to be long-term. I have no desire to make the blog successful right here, right now. Why? Because I'm fully conscious, fully aware of how blogs work. It's something that I do every single day in my own personal business. So the way blogs work is I have to wait a period of months before Google starts to really start giving me any kind of traffic. And that's perfectly fine. It's not a rush for me because that's a long-term game. And I'll explain why in just a second I have a long-term strategy to acquire traffic. Now remember, guys, we're going over the different strategies of how I am personally going to acquire traffic. Here I'm going to type in social. Okay, so social. The social, guys, is going to be 3 things. I'm going to have Twitter, I'm going to have Instagram, okay, and I'm going to be using Pinterest, okay. So for all 3 of these, I am not doing it organically. And so for organically, for people who don't know, you have inorganic and you have organic, or you have paid and you have free. I am going right in between the two. So you have P for paid, you have O for organic. I'm going right in between. And what I'm doing is black hat. And what black hat is there's 3 types of hats. There's white hat, gray hat, black hat. What I'm doing black hat is, it's not illegal, there's nothing wrong with it, but basically it's frowned upon because social media companies don't want you to know about black hat tactics because it basically doesn't make them any more money, but it keeps growing your account. A lot of people have to pay to grow their accounts. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using automation tools. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write automation tools, just like that. Okay? Automation tools. All right? And basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be automating the growth of my Pinterest account, automating the growth of my Instagram account, automating the growth of all these different accounts. I am not going to describe how I do those now. If you want to look at the websites where I get those tools, you can look at botsandapps.com. That's botsnapps.com. And they have the tools here. Okay, so we can talk about them in the future. I'm not going to talk about them right here, right now. All right. But that's essentially how I'm going to do it. Now, why would I do this? Why would I use the social media? It's simple. It's much, much faster growth. So I'll just give you an example. The period of time, let's just say you have 0 followers and I have 0 followers, and we're both posting the exact same content in the exact same niche. The only difference is you're just posting it with your hashtags and you're just hoping that it will grow, which is essentially organic. And what I'm doing instead is I'm using my automation tools. I'm going to grow, 5,000 times faster than you? I could get 5,000 followers in a matter of months. You might get 5,000 followers in a matter of years. Much, much faster growth. It's not even comparable. It's really not even a discussion. So that's going to be the next thing. So socials. Now, how much will that cost? It will cost anywhere from $10 to $20 each social media platform. So if you're running it yourself, $10 to $20 each platform. If you're hiring people, let's just say $50 for each person that you're hiring them for a week, let's say, plus the actual software, you're looking at anywhere from from 70 to 90 per person, roughly, per social media tool. If you're going to hire somebody, if you're going to do it yourself, $10-20 a social media tool, you're good to go. Okay. The next thing is going to be ads. Okay. So ads is going to be immediate. So you see how we wrote here long, here we have short. Short-term money or immediate money is going to be through ads. So for example, if I was to create a store today, complete everything I really needed to complete, which is hard to do in one day. But let's just say I did that in an imaginary world. If I created the store, published everything and completed it, which is hard, like I said, just to do in one day. But if I did, I could technically turn on ads immediately and start making money immediately. But that's not the way that works. You have to optimize your store. You have to really get it set up the proper way, which could take some time. It's not immediate. And then in the short term, you can make money off of ads. Now, if people want an estimation as to how long it takes, you can make money the same week, the same month. That's not unheard of. That's not even rare. Okay, if you're successful with running ads, it's pretty normal. However, something that I will say is there's a learning curve to everything. You have to learn how to build it. You have to learn how to grow it. And more importantly, you have to learn how to play the game. And paying for ads and doing all these kind of things, it's a game at the end of the day, right? So you just got to get good at playing the game. So here I have my long-term strategy, which is the blogs. And here I have my short-term strategy. Now I'm going to try to answer some questions right now that I'm imagining some people will have. The first question is, how many blogs do I need? Well, the answer is, for me personally, I think I have close to 40, if not more. I don't know. I didn't do a count. Maybe one of you guys want to go on there and count. I think 41 blogs, because this is 1, this is 2, and then here we have like 39. So that's my guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10. All right, so a little more than 40. Okay, 41, 43, whatever. You guys get the point, though. I plan to have like maybe another 150 blog posts on here, just so this thing can really crack in some traffic. And something that I will say is, I want you guys to notice where I'm coming from. So the website domain is Exotic Pet Club, or exoticspetclub.com. I am leaving the range open for how exotic we want to go. I'm starting off with dogs like Frenchies, which is kind of an exotic pet. I guess it's expensive of a pet, and I'm going to go into things like having tigers as pets, having chinchillas as pets. And I don't know if that's fully exotic, but the point is it really doesn't matter, because the title of my domain is pretty open. It's not that crazy. Now, this is pretty niche. I'm not saying it's the best niche for profitability, but it's a way to get started. Everybody is not going to be able to pick the best niche right away. It's all a learning lesson. You're going to be learning and adapting with time, and it's perfectly fine. Something that I want to say is, don't get too hung up on the small stuff. And I want to give you a small little story. When I built my very, very first business ever, it was a clothing business, and I spelled the domain name wrong. Okay, I spelled the domain name wrong. I'm dyslexic, so I'm terrible in spelling anyway, and I spelled it wrong. And I only realized about 2 months later, after my sister was looking at the website, and she pointed it out to me. And I was still, I had no more money left, so I just had to work anyway. And then a few months down the road, 6 months in total actually, it took 6 months for me to get my very first sale. And I actually told this story multiple times, and I still remember what the sale was. It was a hoodie that I sold for $59. Mind you, with a misspelled domain name. The point of what I'm trying to tell you is, I didn't get hung up on the small stuff because I literally had no other option. I didn't have any more money, and I'm just not the type to borrow money. So I made do with what I had. So the point is that if you're not happy with your logo, or you mess up with the domain name or something like that, don't worry. It could be fixed in time, in the future, nice and slow. The point is just try to get something done, and over time you iterate. You fix, you develop, you keep fixing, you develop, you keep fixing, and so on. So that's exactly what I did, and that's what you guys should do too. At least I'm giving you the advice that I see is beneficial in my vision. But anyway, so the blog is for long-term income, okay? And the blog is going to take anywhere from 6 to really like 12 months to kick in. And when I say kick in, I'm saying, get a good amount of traffic per month. And this is not rare. This is not abnormally fast or slow. This is typical, for it to start getting some significant traffic every single month. It could take 8 months, 10 months, sometimes even more than 12 months. This is just an estimation, Is it rare for a blog to get, within 4 or 5 months to get some really good traffic? Yeah, it's rare, but it happens. So this is like a little example, okay? This right here, the ads, I spoke about this already, but you can get sales very, very quickly. I mean, within the first month, you can get sales. So this is not crazy. As for the social media, this is a kind of a hybrid strategy because it will work as long as I work it. So it's not really short or long. If I can just keep going with the social media, which I absolutely can, I have the virtual assistants to help me with that. And guys, real quick, I just want to stop and say something. The only reason why I keep mentioning my virtual assistants that they're going to help me is because I have other projects. If this was my only project, I'd be doing it all myself. I just want to put that into consideration. But anyways, what was I talking about? So this is like a hybrid. So with this kind of traffic, the more I build up the media following, right, the more results I get out of it. So I can get to the point where technically I'm not even using the black hat strategies, and I've developed enough of a following to where it grows more followers for me. And that's kind of some of the benefits. I've spoken about it before. Many of you have potentially, I'm not really sure, but have potentially seen my older videos about the social media, about Pinterest, about Instagram, etc. And you might have seen those. So, it's going to keep growing with time. So that's kind of like my marketing strategy. And although it might seem easy for some people it might seem difficult, it's more than satisfactory. You can easily just take one and focus on it. If you don't want to do the blog, you don't want to do the social media, you could easily just take one and focus on it. I personally recommend, try your hat at everything, because you never know what you're going to become an expert at, especially if it's your first time, okay? So once that's taken care of, right, and I figured out my traffic, I have to figure out a few more things, right? I have to figure out the logistics. So in terms of the logistics, I put LI here for logistics. What is logistics? Logistics has to do with, how am I going to systematize everything? How is the products going to be shipped out? How is it going to be printed? Where is it going to be printed from? How are we going to get it to the customer at the fastest, cheapest rate? How are we going to do all these things? And that comes down to comparison of different providers for different products. And also there's more logistics than just that. We have logistics behind the website, and I've already broken down some logistics, and most of you guys probably pretty know this already. This website here is a blog. I am not going to put anything for sale on this website just yet. Okay. What it's going to link to, like these blog posts, are all going to link to the Shopify store. So, and technically, that's logistics as well. We're systematizing things. So if this is the blog, right, and each blog post is responsible for traffic, let's just say a percentage, let's just say 4% of traffic for each blog post, I can send 4% more every single time from different blogs to the Shopify store. So I'm going to draw a little Shopify symbol here, drawing their S logo, the Shopify logo, and all this traffic from the blog is going to be taken to the Shopify store. Now, this is at a point when the store is established. This could take a year, this could take 10 months, 9 months, whatever. It could take 4 months. Like I said, it just depends on the speed at which the blogs take rate. The ads is not something I'll be shutting off whatsoever. The social media, maybe, if everything else kicks in, right? There's no reason for me to do social media at that point, because if I make an extra $1,000 on social media, I could easily just relax off of that, put extra energy into the blogs or into the Shopify, into the ads, and make 10, 20,000, replacing it. So, that's kind of just simply how it works. So this is kind of a logistical selection, right? And more of a strategy. And the reason why I'm doing this strategy is for two reasons. First, I like to have my entities separate because diversification. And I've spoken about this before, but diversification is the number one element behind all my business moves. I never put all my eggs in one basket. The Shopify store is going to have SEO done to it. The blog is going to have SEO done to it. Both of them are going to rank. Both of them are going to do well. In the event that I want to sell this business, I'll list the website. And what naturally will the investor do? They'll say, well, how are you gaining traffic? And then we'll point to a few things. First, we'll point to the website. Then we'll point to the social media. And then we'll point to the ads. And then we'll also point to the other assets that the Shopify store holds. So the asset will hold email marketing. It will hold a lot of different things, right? And what will happen is I'll be able to sell the website, the Shopify store, for a higher percentage or a higher multiple. Really, that's a better word, higher multiple, when it comes time to sell, if I'm selling the blog along with it, okay? If I'm not selling the blog along with it, right, just depending on the scenario, because let's just say ads make up 60% of the sales. If ads make up 60% of the sales, then I'm not going to sell the blog. I'm going to keep the blog, right? And then create another Shopify store and then just send traffic to the Shopify store. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? So really what I'm doing is I'm trying to think of the best way that I can exit before I create a business. And this is something I learned from one of my mentors, Gerard Adams. I spoke about him before. This was the guy that I met in Newark when I was 17. And he exited his company for $50 million. He was a millionaire before that. But anyways, he sold his company for $50 million, which was literally just blogs. But anyways, he said, before you create a business, you have to focus on the exit. How is it going to end? Is it going to be something that just dies off slowly, which is really a shame, and in the corporate world should never really happen? Or is it going to be something that you're going to sell? Or is it going to be something that you're going to run till the end and have your kids take over? Whatever the case may be. For him, every single business he's pretty much ran either failed or he's exited off of. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful by saying failed. We all fail at certain things. So that's that. But yeah, so for me, most likely the way it's looking is either I'm going to keep holding it for a while or I'm just going to exit pretty early. And when I say early, within a year, less than a year probably. Because the exit process itself takes like a good 2 to 3 months to find the seller, to find the buyer, to list the entity for sale, all these kind of things. So for me, probably going to sell, but we'll see. The blog, I'm okay with keeping it. I have no issue. I have many ways to monetize, and there's a lot of things I could do. That's why I said, for now, I won't be selling anything on the site, but that might change in the future. So it just depends on the situation. But like I said, this is kind of how I'm going to run things. So let's kind of go a little bit deeper now. Let's talk about how the actual Shopify store will be structured. Very simple, very easily put. I'm going to be using the Nismo Shopify theme. It's a very clean theme. It's worked very well for some of my other stores. I will recommend other themes that are a little bit cheaper. This theme cost $327. I don't really pay attention to this number too much. $327. I have a relationship with the owners. It's a very good relationship. You guys can get code. I think the code is autopilot. I think you'll get $100 off. Don't quote me on the code, exactly the coupon code. I'll just leave it in the description. I don't remember the exact code. I have to check in my email, but I think you can get $100 off. I'm not 100% sure on the code itself. I don't know what the word is. I think it's autopilot, but once again, I'll leave it in the description and I'll verify it before I write the code in the description. But I'm pretty sure the discount is 100, so 100 off. So that comes out to $227, which is on the cheaper side for Shopify themes. And to put things into perspective, a lot of people might say $227 or $327. That's not cheap at all. It's actually very cheap, and I'll tell you why. If we go to other themes, like, for example, let's go to Turbo out of the Sandbox. Let's see here, Portland theme. This theme is $425, okay? There's no discount code. There's no, sale. There's none of that. $425. So, and that's not bad of a price. It's kind of reasonable, actually. This is $227, so $227, $425. You're looking at $200 cheaper. There's another theme that I really like, actually, but it is very expensive. It's called Debutify. It's the most expensive, I believe, because it works off of what is this? This is, okay, let me fix this real quick. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let me go over here. Debutify. Yep. Why is it searching on my history? I have no idea. Anyways, Debutify. Okay, there we go. I was clicking the history button. Anyways, so Debutify. All right, so Debutify is a really good theme. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not a good theme, but it's very expensive for beginners. If your store is making 10, 20 grand a week, a day, a month, who cares? It's not expensive. But if you are not doing that, which 99.9% of beginners are not going to be doing that, because obviously they have to build it, you're looking at a reasonable price anywhere between $149 or $79 a month, which is not the worst. $79 is not the worst. I know there's many things that we all probably pay for that's more than $79 a month, but when we're talking about a Shopify theme, especially for the beginners, we don't look at it that way. We look at it, okay, how much am I spending? How much am I making? And $79 is quite a lot because you still have to factor in the cost of actually paying for Shopify. And Shopify, after the 1 month trial, is going to be $39, I believe. Yeah, $39 a month. So close to $40. So you're talking just the Shopify theme plus the cost of the theme here is going to be well over $100 a month. What is that, 120, something like that a month? So, yeah, you're going to pay a pretty penny plus tax. We didn't even factor in tax. So, what was I saying? So, in terms of doing all this, you have to look at what you're getting. The Debutify theme has these apps, right? So, let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. So, it has these features, for example, hopefully you guys can see this. Let me see here. No. All right, let me try to bring this down. Do you guys see how there's this little purple picture right here? This little purple icon, or there's this little US Shopify symbol, or this whiteboard symbol, or this world icon, or this world icon. All of these are called favicons. That's an example of something you pay for within Debutify's app system, right? And so if you look here, if you look at the pricing, it says $79, and it says, for growing brands, the Pro is different than the Growth. The Growth has maximum three apps that you can add. The Pro has, I think, all the apps you can add. So there's a difference. If you're going to pay $29, one of those apps is favicon, it's not really worth it. And on top of that, I'll say this. There's a lot of different apps within it that you can pay for, but they can only fit into these plans. So me personally, I would never pay for a theme that I have to pay monthly. I'll just find a theme that has a lot of features and already has those features in a theme that I could pay one time for, and then I own the theme itself. Now let's talk about the theme, okay? Any kind of customization you want, so something custom for your own store, you're going to have to pay out of pocket to a developer. These companies are not going to do it for you, whether it be Debutify or Turbo or Nismo or any of them. They're not going to do it at all. You have to pay custom for those. And, sometimes that exists, depending on your business. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was maybe a few years ago, I would say, I was kind of bored. I wanted to start a subscription box business, and I was thinking about it. And so I just said, okay, if I could develop the website, if I could get it all going, then I'll dive deeper into it. And I had to pay for a developer to kind of set up the whole subscription thing with the way the product was and the way that people can kind of like roll credits into their account. I had to pay for the tech behind it, even though I paid for the Shopify theme. So basically, just because you're paying for a Shopify theme doesn't mean that it's going to be the end-all, be-all. And this is why I say you have to be calculated on what exactly you're going to do. So for me, I'm pretty much going to be doing everything manually. I'm not going to be hiring a developer. At least I don't think so. I don't have a problem if I do. But you have to know these things before. So for me, and you got to keep this in mind if you're going to do this, if you think you want something custom, you got to budget for that. These companies are not going to do that for you. All they're concerned with is how their theme functions. They don't do any kind of custom work. So that's that. And as far as that, right, speaking of pricing and money, Shopify has an app store within it. And there are certain apps that you can pay for. These themes, every single one of these themes, are not compatible with any of the apps out of the box. You're going to have to hire a developer as well to make them compatible. Sometimes you might get lucky and it might just work for you, but 9 times out of 10 it won't. You're going to have to, do the code, update the code of the theme, and make it all work. If you can't do it, you're going to have to hire a developer as well. Once again, these companies will definitely not do that. So you're going to have to budget a little bit. You have to have some room for budgeting. So by the end of this video, you guys are probably getting an idea of how much everything will cost. We're talking about themes. We're talking about blogs, about marketing, about ads. The ads alone, you could spend thousands of dollars on ads. I spent over $80,000 on Pinterest ads, and I've said this before a million times. I even have on my Pinterest course page showing how I spent over $13,000 on just 3 ads. Actually, I think I'll just show this now. So, Autopilot, PassiveIncome.com, Pinterest ads course, and let's see where the picture is here. Here it is. So this was 3 different products, which is 3 different ads. These are the names of the campaigns, and I run 1 ad per campaign, and I spent $13,892 for those ads. Now, don't get me wrong, Pinterest has a great ROI, all that kind of stuff, but I just took the screenshot to just kind of show how much you could spend on ads. So, like, for example, this ad, let's see, I spent $5,200 on this one, $1,200, $1,200. So there you go. But maybe a little bit more even, because right here they're only showing for a certain period of time. They're not showing the whole entire ad spend for the duration of the ad. But anyways, what I'm really trying to get at here is you're going to be spending some money. You're going to be definitely running a business here. This is definitely not something that I would skimp on. And at the end of the day, the more you skimp, the more you save. It's a good thing to save, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to say, oh, let me just go with this instead of this because it costs more, don't do that. You have to look at the features, you have to look at the benefits, and ask yourself, what is it costing me? So, for example, if I have a virtual assistant that takes care of this website for the blogs, right? And like I said, she's doing a great job. You guys can see it. You guys can look. I mean, the website literally just started. I think we started 4 or 5 days ago, something like that. And she's written a ton of blogs, and she's been working very hard. But you look at some of these older blog posts, like this is listed for March 4th, February 4th. That's not real. You know, she wrote all these recently. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is I could easily tell her, oh no, I'll only pay X amount for blogs. I won't pay this amount. But since I want her to do a good job, I want her to be motivated, I want her to be inspired, and more importantly, I want her to get the job done, I'm going to pay her more. You know, so I could easily sit there and say, oh no, let me just save my money and make her do half the work instead. But I know that's hurting me long term. You understand what I'm saying? Because it could easily be a blog that gets that I could have decided not to pay for, and it would have never been done. And then, 50% of my traffic could maybe never come into my bit. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So there could be certain decisions that I decide to save on, that those decisions could have shifted the entirety of my business. Same thing with when I point out, like, for example, the where's the whiteboard here? The whiteboard. When I point out, like, the social media tools, the bots, the Pinterest, the Instagram, the whatever, the automation tools, there's going to be people who are going to say, oh, I'm going to do it manually. The reality is you only have so much time in a day to do certain automation, to do certain things. And if you do it manually, you're going to burn yourself out. You're not going to be able to handle it. And you're going to quit on this business the same way you quit on other ones. So the reality is if you want to be successful, make the investment, bite the bullet, and be committed to the actual business so that you come out at the end profit positive. Same thing with ads. If you say, oh man, I'm just not going to spend money on ads. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait it out, wait for my blog to kick in. You could end up waiting a year before you make any money. Meanwhile, in another world, you could have started your ads 2 weeks into the game, a month into the game, not even spend a lot, just practice, and then start getting some sales early. So it's all about perspective. And at the end of the day, your perspective controls your output, and it controls your input. So I would say for this business, specifically Shopify, if you're going into Shopify, know that you're going to spend money. Just the subscription alone to Shopify is going to cost you money. You're going to spend money on the subscription, right? You're going to spend money on the domain name. You're going to spend money on the theme. Maybe you're going to spend money on some apps here and there. So that's money right there. You're going to spend money on ads. You're going to spend money on the, technically you could do it yourself as for the blogging. So, you could do that if you want to yourself. You could there's so many things that you could spend money on, right? So what I'm trying to say is just come up with a game plan, know what you're going to be able to do, know what you're not going to be able to do, and, go for it. There's a lot of people who would say, oh man, I don't want to spend $39 a month on Shopify. Let me go somewhere else. And that's fine. I'm not saying that it's not going to work. It could potentially work, which is why I'm actually going to make other videos with other companies. But Shopify is a great place to start, and there's a lot of different businesses. But I was in exactly your guys' shoes. The moment where I sat there and I had no money left, like I said, I had to make do with what I had, which is something I really advocate. Sometimes you just got to make do with what you have. You might not have that much to invest right now, but if you don't have that much, I would say the best and the easiest thing you could do is when you go to your job every day, save a small piece of it, right? And then slowly add it up. Have like a little nest egg so that before you get into the Shopify business, let's just say you saved up $5,000. That's more than enough, way more than enough to get invested. I'm not saying you need $5,000. You need a lot less than that, but I'm just giving you an example, right? So you have your nest egg, whether it be 1,000, 5,000, whatever the number is, and you're putting that to the side to go into the business with, and know that you're going to spend money in the right places, I really should say invest, because you're not really spending. You're investing money in the right places. I guess the only difference between a spend or an investment is if you decide to quit at the end or not, right? I guess it turns into an investment if you actually end up making money. And I guess it's a spend if you quit halfway through. So the best thing you could do is obviously not quit. And do the best you can and keep iterating. Like I said, you can't lose. You can't lose on this journey if you do not, if you keep iterating, you're not going to lose. And just simply do the work, then go back to it later and see what things you can fix. You keep doing that day after day after day. I don't care if it takes you 3 years, a year, 10 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the number is, you will be successful. It will take a little bit of time, but you will be successful. And you will start to make truly passive income. And The best way that I can explain passive income in this business is very simple. Like, for example, I have my blogs, right? It's not going to make me money now. It could make me money a year from now. And the way it will work is somebody will search, for example, what do French Bulldogs eat? They'll click on the little article here. Once they click on the article, they read it. After they read the article, they see a little ad on the side or whatever the case may be about a hoodie that looks something like this, for example, right? Or like this, right? And they say, wait a minute, I like that. They click on the ad, takes them to my Shopify store, right? The same way that I drew here in the whiteboard. Next thing you know, they end up through the process, they end up buying. So that's kind of how it works. And that's kind of passive in nature. But I had to do the active work first without getting paid to do that. And that's the whole difference between us and the employees, guys, is that we're willing to take the risks that the employees aren't willing to take. So that one day we don't have to live as employees forever. We could live as our own, essentially our own boss. I don't really use that word too much. I just call myself a hustler. I'm just trying to figure out different ways to make money, whether it be blogging, whether it be Shopify stores, whether it be whatever. And that's kind of how I go. So I don't want to talk you guys off for too long. We've been talking for 45 minutes, which is or 41 minutes, about the time of a full class period here. So until next time, guys, class is dismissed for today. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Bye. All right, I'll see you soon. See ya.